choice goods worth millions in Ibadan. Military nabbed security personnel colluding with terrorists. 21 vehicles recovered as police arrest 1,600 suspects in Abuja. Soldiers recover arms in Zamfara bandits camp. 25 stray cattle recovered in Sokoto forest. Still here on the Punch newspaper front page, we have this from the business side of the paper. Abuja CNG power taxes slash fares by 40%. And more of politics, Igbo will give Tinubu over 70% votes in 2027, coming from Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. And SDP seeks cancellation of FCT elections over irregularities. Reps committee summoned Benue Zamfara governors, lawmakers. All of that is some of the headlines here out of the Punch newspaper this morning. We also take a look at the Nation. Here on the Nation newspaper, we have a couple of headlines. All right, the big story here says Natasha activists clash over Akpabio's sexual harassment claims. Tinubu to saboteurs. Nigeria will not bow to fear terror. IPOP Simon Ekpa will soon be returned for trial, court told. More headlines here out of the Nation this morning. Zach Adedeji, man in the mirror. That's a bit of feature. And fresh trouble for PDP as infection fever hits BOT. Ex-council chair stabbed to death in Bauchi. Tinubu to saboteurs. Taking earlier, Nigeria will not bow to fear terror. And a bit of entertainment. Very dark man arrested in Abuja. Lawyer claims. Chimamanda shares journey of welcoming twin boys through surrogacy. I played key role in Wizkid's rise to stardom, global Afrobeat success, says Akon. And more of politics. Council poll APC leaders in Ojokoro endorse Sanusi. APC chieftain Emet Titiri Lord Aberwore Wike for supporting Tinubu's re-election. All of that are some of the headlines playing out here on the Nation newspaper front page. We also take a look at the Daily Post and take some headlines there out of the Daily Post news engine this morning. Here on the Daily Post, we have this one. Rivers Women Walk Out as Renewed Hope Initiative Empowerment Program. Rivers Women Walk Out at Renewed Hope Initiative Empowerment Program. Akpabio's sexual harassment. Natasha Akpoti denies Duru's evidence claim. Defection of Oberevore. Okowa orders political tsunami. APC chieftain Agbakake speaking there. And we also have this one. Federal government gives foreigners with expired visas 3 months to leave Nigeria. Bamishe court sentences Lagos BRT driver to death by hanging. Federal colleges of education in Nigeria to award bachelor's degrees. And more headlines here out of the Daily Post this morning. Insecurity. Nigeria will not yield to fear terror. Treasury. And that's Tinubu speaking there. More headlines. U.S. didn't confirm fourth Iran's nuclear deal meeting coming from the State Department. And 2027 Igbos will give Tinubu 80% votes. Deputy Speaker Kalu. 2027 Governor Sule speaks on Buhari. Malami orders leaving APC. Anti-party activities. Aburi Labour Party faction to probe Governor Oti orders. All of that are some of the headlines there out of the Daily Post this morning. We also take a dive into what cable front page looks like this morning as well. Some of the key stories here on the cable. We pan towards cable and also pick some headlines out of the news engine this morning. In case you're just joining us, it's still the Break It On Papers review coming to you here on your Live Tonight 32 FM 94.9. All right, on the cable this morning, we do have some headlines. Tinubu to governors, ignore armchair critics. Let your results speak for you. CBN posts 38.8 billion naira profit, says total asset hit 117 trillion naira in 2024. More headlines here out of the cable. Implement 2014 Confab report to honor Ayu Adebanjo. Edwin Clark Bode George tells Tinubu. And the one for Bara, women walk out of Remi Tinubu's empowerment program in Rivers. Still here, Atiku to youth confronts Nigeria's electoral challenges or you will have no future. Right, we still do have more here on the table. You don't represent the values of our party. Abure knocks OT over comment on Labour Party leadership tussle at this speech. And this one says they are going nowhere. Abdullah Sule says Buhari Malami not leaving APC. Tinubu, the troops, they claim every inch of Nigeria's territory from bandits, terrorists. Afenifere backs Tinubu to serve 2 terms. Says his administration not a Yoruba government. Natasha Akpabio has no evidence against Akpabio, says UK-based activist. All of that are some of the headlines there out of the cable this morning. We also look at the Vanguard and get some headlines too out of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And of course, we'll be taking more of the headlines. On the Vanguard, we have these headlines. 2027, why Tinubu Atiku shouldn't run, Baba Ahmed speaking. And this also says Delta APC leadership, how Tinubu stopped a Verbury Omo Agege fight. Killing, state of emergency looms in Benue, Zamfara. Latest news more, Tinubu tax governors on performance. Although court sentences herdsmen to 10 years imprisonment for destroying 50 million Naira. That part of the headline is missing. Rimi versus orders, one resigned with honor, many defected without shame. And that's a piece there. Delta APC leadership, how Tinubu stop Oberibori Omo-Agege. Remember what Uduaha said after joining APC and returning to PDP. More features here on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. We also have this one, state of emergency, Rivers women stage walkout on a bus wife. Australian LC gets 172 million naira to endorse Adeleke, coming from APC. All of that is some of the headlines here out of the Vanguard. All right, we'll take a look at the Guardian as well and pick some headlines here out of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Okay, on the Guardian, Meta threatens to shut down operations in Nigeria over $290 million fine. Tagging Tinubu's administration, Yoruba government dangerous, divisive. That's according to Afenifere. Military foils 168 million naira oil theft. Destroys 22 illegal refineries in Niger Delta. Federal government raises maritime workers' hope, pledges more investment in infrastructure. And this says INEC cannot deliver a free and fair election in 2027. That's according to Nebo. And this is a bit of entertainment. Burna Boy ushers in 8th studio album with new single, Sweet Love. All right, more headlines. World Press Freedom Day 2025, navigating convergence between AI, journalism, ethics. All of that is some of the headlines here out of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Tinubu pays surprise visit to frontline troops in Katsina. And here we are, still on the Break It On Papers review. We do have Austin Odumo joining us right about now for the analysis proper this morning. Austin, can you hear me? Good morning.
GBOLABO, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, I guess we can start off very quickly with this one coming from the Guardian newspaper. And now we're seeing here, it says Meta threatens to shut down operations in Nigeria over $290 million fine. And we know that microblogging in Nigeria, it's a major business for SMEs, especially those who can have their shops, their offline shops, they go online to sell. And if you look at it, predominantly 60% of our youth population are striving on that. What do you think will happen if Meta decides to shut down?
Well, let's hope that there will still be continual engagement as far as that is concerned. Meta has appealed that particular fine. What happened was that there was this investigation carried out between 2021 and 2023 of various regulatory infractions by Meta. Meta is the parent company for WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook.
Right.
I think this particular scenario, it is only Instagram and Facebook that is affected. So the federal Consumer Protection Agency, Competitive Protection Agency in Nigeria, the agency of government that protects consumers from being exploited, carried out investigation with other relevant government agencies, and they saw that there were infractions in release of personal data according to Nigerian data law. They premised their findings on that, and they imposed a fine of $220 million on Meta. So Meta looked at it that what the agency or the Nigerian government is asking for is unachievable and is also unrealistic. That if that is going to be the case, they are most likely going to shut down these two online platforms in Nigeria. That will be detrimental to a lot of things in the country. I believe this is just like a regulatory and an agency issue that need to be sorted out. When I saw the fine, I think some weeks ago, 220 million, I opened my eyes to check where. If you impose that on them, how do you intend Nigerians to continue business? Don't forget, some of these online platforms, the Nigerians are being paid for posting content on them. So I believe it's an issue that can still be resolved. But one thing must be very clear before we blame the government alone for this matter. There are certain things these companies they do in Nigeria that they cannot do elsewhere. I hope you are aware in terms of the release of information, in terms of arbitrariness, in terms of lack of compliance to extant and regulatory law. But the issue is that let the agency of government still continue to engage them. If the fine can be brought down, or if the mandate can be reviewed to bring in about some flexibility that will not compromise the data privacy of Nigeria on the platter of online or social media information sharing. If we can do that, at the end of the day, we might get into a win-win situation. Because,
but Austin, do you think honestly, I'm sorry to butt in, but do you think honestly the federal government is leading by example in terms of protection of our data? Do you remember when we had this issue around NIN and we had insinuations that our NIN data in a way has, there have been some infractions, individuals have been sharing it and the rest. Those were allegations that we heard. Do you think the federal government is also laying a good foundation for other international investors who want to come and do this kind of business or have this kind of investment across the world, which will also affect us?
Yes, if we have issues with the government, we talk about it, we blame the government. The government may not be exonerated in some of these issues, but the truth of the matter is that some of these companies, when they get into Nigeria, they exploit every opportunity to compromise the privacy and the integrity of the Nigerian people. That is the way it works. If you have been outside the country before, you will understand that the way people do business, the way foreigners do business in Nigeria is not the way businesses are done elsewhere. That's just the truth of the matter. So two things that must happen are the data privacy of our people must be protected, and government must be flexible enough, because a lot of people's means of livelihood also depend on this. But government from time to time must regulate. There are some countries that some of these things cannot happen. That's the truth of the matter. So my opinion is that at the end of the day, there could be a middle ground so that the issue can be resolved.
All right, this Natasha saga, it's actually having a number of approaches now. Some would say this is saboteurs who are just trying to ensure that her image is dragged badly in the public. But then it's having different dimension to that with what Professor 𝐂𝐿𝐒𝐿 is coming up with on Facebook. That's, I think she's Dr. Sandra Duro by her name, but she calls herself, social media name is Professor 𝐂𝐿𝐒 sort of. Now, this headline said, tagging Tinubu's administration, Yoruba government dangerous divisive. And that's from Afenifere, referring or reacting to Senator Natasha allegedly Akpoti-Uduaghan has interview with Professor 𝐂𝐿𝐒, where she alleged that Tinubu's government is a Yoruba government and they are making plans to make it more or less a Yoruba government. Now, what do we make out of all of this and the interference or intervention of the Afenifere, who are coming out to say that Tinubu must have his 2 term completed? Is it about the Yorubas? Is it about the country? What do you think the interest is here?
Yes, the major problem we have had in Nigeria is that rather than being patriotic, rather than loyalty to the country, most Nigerians are loyal to their ethnic group first. A lot of people, their loyalty is first of all to their ethnic group. If it is a zoning formula, I think the president reserves the right to be re-elected or to contest for a second term. There is no mandate. There is nothing that says that when he contests, he must win the election. But he reserves the right as a citizen of the country to also seek a re-election, because it becomes something suspicious and something sectional when you have a situation where somebody will do 8 years from a section of the country, and when it gets to the turn of another section, they find it too long to wait, and they want power to return to them by all means. Of course, that is politics. It's only God, like I've always said, that know those who will be alive in 2027, and it's only God that know what will happen. But the president reserves the right to contest. It is not also his right to must win the election in 2027. Let the other party put their hands together and see how they can give the president a run for his money. Now, on the issue of Yoruba government or what have you, of course, this has always been the issue. Right from the time, I think Obasanjo was a little bit destabilized, right from the time of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. It got to a time they had to interview former President Yar'Adua, that he talked about competence and qualification. And a lot of people ask him and say, are you now saying that those competent capacity is only vested in one section of the country? And since then, it has always been very lopsided. I think Buhari made the situation worse. And I also think that Tinubu is also compounding the situation as far as I'm concerned. This is my personal opinion. When you are making appointment, especially key appointment, you must make sure that it becomes all inclusive. You must carry all the people along based on our diversity. Of course, we emphasize competence and merit, but there are competent people from every nook and cranny, from every ethnic group across the country. So that is how it should be. So I advise the president, going forward, making appointment, you must ensure that people are accommodated. But my grasp with some people from the northern part of the country is that this thing was so pronounced in the last administration, and they were not really up in arm like they have today. That's the truth of the matter. They were not really up in arm like we have today. I told you of a federal character commission under the former administration. The law says that the chairman and the secretary must not come from the same section of the country. But we have under the other former President Muhammadu Buhari, the secretary and the national and the chairman, they were from the northern part of the country. Akin Baba Ahmed did not talk. El-Rufai did not talk. Aliu Dume did not talk. A lot of people kept quiet. Those people in the south now, the Yorubas that are keeping quiet now, because it's favoring them, they are keeping quiet. We must not continue to act like that. Government must be inclusive. Government must be fair. Government must be just, and government must be transparent. On the issue of Natasha Akpoti, I think she has a lot to clear. That's just the truth of the matter. On the allegation against Akpabio, she said she will bring the evidence out when the times are ripe. But we do not know when the time will be ripe according to her definition. Look at another dimension to her now. Of course, Professor 𝐒𝐒𝐄 brought out some evidence. Whether those evidences are false or not, it now left for Natasha to also prove. That's the situation. I ordinarily expected that this matter would get to this level, because before now, you were sexually harassed sometimes in December 2023, and you are bringing it up in 2025. As a matter of time, in my view, that is a little belated. So what were you waiting for? Now we have gotten to a level of evidence, because we must not get to a level where we have to conclude that this allegation definitely must be true. They must be proven. The one that alleges must prove. Let there also be investigation into 𝐒𝐒𝐄 assertion. 𝐒𝐒𝐄 brought about their phone conversation. Let there be forensic analysis to prove whether this conversation actually took place. And I was also surprised in 𝐒𝐒𝐄's revelation that Natasha admitted that she paid some people, including people like 𝐒𝐍𝐒. Till now, I was disappointed with 𝐒𝐍𝐒's disposition at the Senate committee for the hearing of Natasha's case, but I still believe that, personal opinion, I believe that 𝐒𝐍𝐒 cannot descend that low to collect money from Natasha. How much does Natasha have to pay 𝐒𝐍𝐒 for that dirty job? I do not believe that, except I now finally see a cast in iron evidence to be able to believe that. That is my perception as far as that issue is concerned. But Natasha has a whole lot to clear as far as this is concerned. Let there be forensic analysis into all of this conversation. 𝐒𝐲𝐒𝐄 also said she will release more revelation as time goes on. Reno Mokri suggested something sometimes ago, that Natasha should be accompanied by some prominent Nigeria to go and take lie detector tests. If you take that, people will know that you are saying the truth, because I have been witness for sexual harassment allegation before. At times, it is the more you look, the less you see. It is not the way we paint it. I have seen people that sexual harassment allegation has brought down their family, has brought down their career, has brought down their fortune, only for the fellow that accused to come back later to say, several years, to come back and say it was not true, I was used against this person. So we must be very careful not to take side or jump into a fallacy of hasty conclusion as far as this issue is concerned. Those that are making revelation allegation, let them do us a favor by proving beyond reasonable doubt the merit and the substance of the allegation. That's my take.
All right, Austin, $3 billion refinery fraud, 80 billion naira found in sacked MD's bank accounts. Now, one will wonder why we always jet out to get money in terms of loan when we have so much money is flying around in the country itself. Now, would we say that EFCC should do a fair feature of all of this monies, and there should be a proper audit of all of this monies being recovered? Where is it going into? We also talk about the Abacha loot. It's been recovered, repatriated in sections into Nigeria, but then we are yet to understand where these monies are going into.
Yes, if you look at the oil sector, for example, there is a lot of scandal going on within the oil sector. If you have government-owned refinery that people have made up their mind that this refinery will never work, no matter what intervention that will go into it, definitely some people are benefiting from that. That's the truth of the matter. It's a cash cow. NNPC is a cash cow for a lot of people in the country today. That's the truth. Imagine, I think there was a report between 1999 and 2022. I think around $80 billion has gone into turnaround maintenance, and this refinery never worked. So between you and I, it's very simple. They will just vote this money, and this money will end in private pocket. That Port Harcourt refinery ever worked, we must give that credit to former President Muhammadu Buhari and this current president, that it worked at all, that it was confirmed that it worked at all. We must give the credit to them, because Buhari also invested trillions of naira to revamp those refineries. And eventually this president came and also continued, and the refinery came upstream. So we must give this credit to them, because a lot of money year in, year out has been pumped into those refineries. In short, it got to a time, because of the enormous investment that has gone into those refineries, Obasanjo concluded and made up his mind that this refinery can never work anymore. So that's the truth of the matter. So this MD that, former MD that, money has been traced to his account. We don't want it to just be mere allegation. We knew what happened to Andrew Yakubu. Let the agency do thorough investigation before it starts rolling. Those who have made up their mind that NNPC will not work, that our refinery will not work, that we must continue to import PMS, even when we can kickstart or reignite local refining capacity, they want us to import heavily. Like I said sometimes ago, there's no country that does not import finished petroleum products. That's the truth of the matter. But when you are importing, it's different from when you rely majorly or substantially on importation. There's a way you can import to also allow people to do business, people that are into importation. But by the time you have to kill your own refinery to bring in products so that you could reap the nation at the detriment of the people, then there is question to it. So my issue is that let anti-graft agency, all this already putting people on trial, already coming up with revelation, for me, it is still too early. do your thorough investigation. That is what is obtainable in advanced country. They will have done their investigation to 80-90%, so that when they arrest you, you are so sure that you go to jail. But Nigerian EFCC, they will not even attain 10% investigation. They will arrest people, put them on media trial, and at the end of the day, judges in Nigeria would dismiss EFCC suit for lacking evidence. You know, imagine a situation where you are prosecuting an individual and you refuse to call witness, prosecuting witness, you refuse to call them, and the judge will call for the case. The one that is prosecuting will not be represented. How do you marry that? We have lost series of cases as far as that is concerned. On this issue of NNPC, my belief, my native intelligence is telling me that if we are pumping money into a venture and that is not working, and we are actually releasing money, the money is ending up somewhere. So we must trace the money, we must recover the money, we must prosecute the looters so as to serve as deterrent.
All right, Austin, Atiku slams Tinubu as president's son battles torture allegations. Now, it appears that Sheyi Tinubu may be facing allegations of being meddlesome in a case that doesn't really concern him in terms of the elections of NANS. From what we are also seeing here, that's the factional president of the National Association of the Nigerian Students, that's Atiku Issa, saying that he was offered 100 billion naira, the 100 million naira bribe in order to support Tinubu's agenda. Now, what do we say with all of this? Sheyi Tinubu has come out to deny it, but then some people are already saying that these are adults. They can accuse you wrongly. Why didn't they pick somebody else? Why you? What do we say, Austin?
Yes, we have to investigate. Let us not conclude that these are adults. Why didn't they pick any other person? We are in Nigeria, GBOLABO, anything can happen. In the case of Professor Duru, Professor 𝐒𝐿, why didn't you say, or why didn't we say that, all she said about Natasha must be true? There are other people there. Why didn't she why didn't she say GBOLABO? Why is she saying Natasha, for example? Let there be thorough investigation. We cannot say that because Sheyi Tinubu is the son of the president, every allegation against me must be true without proving. Issa made serious allegations. He said he was offered 100 million. You need to provide evidence. Who are the people that offered it? He mentioned a meeting in Lagos where Sheyi Tinubu was present, where the Minister of Education was present. He mentioned another date where maybe one of the announced executives, one Ladoja, where he reported that, they wanted to kill you or something like that. He quoted that date, but he didn't quote the date he meant with Sheyi Tinubu and the Minister of Education in Lagos. Provide more evidence. Let there be more insight. Anything can happen. NANS election have always been politicized, but now that is involving like the issue of brutality, the issue of assault, the issue of human rights violation, we need to do that. The people in that hotel in Abuja have also come out to say that no security breach. However, let there be independent investigation because politicians have jumped in on that. If you met with the Minister of Education in Lagos and Sheyi Tinubu, do you have something like picture evidence, for example? Because we have also seen the NAS president met at several on some other occasions with prominent politicians. We saw their pictures on social media. We saw their pictures flying around. If you can, you need to provide more insight. You understand? So let us not just think that, because Tinubu is the president, we don't like him, we don't like his son, so whatever allegation against him must be true. So we must be very careful so that we will not have to kill people who are not guilty for an allegation against them. Once it is proven, I believe that the next president must have evidence that you are offered 100 million naira. In today's Nigeria, 100 million naira, and you reject it. You must be a man with acute integrity. So you need to also prove the more that, it was also person that offered him this money. This was when they offered him this money. Because that you had meetings, some people say you should support the president, whether wrongly or rightly, I do not know. He has his right to his opinion, and nobody can coerce anybody to force anybody to support anybody. That's the truth of the matter. So after that meeting, you were attacked somewhere, and maybe you linked it to, maybe because they wanted me to do this. So we need more evidence. Let security operative also investigate this matter. We want to get to the root of this matter, whether this is just a mere political allegation or it actually happened. And if it actually happened, Seyi Tinubu is an ordinary Nigerian, is an ordinary citizen, is not holding any political
Austin,
or any public office in
we
the
always
country,
talk
and
about,
it's not above the law.
All right, Austin, let me just chip this in. All the time we say investigate. How many things will the police investigate in terms of crime? Can't we also have a monitoring mechanism? For instance, why would an hotel in Nigeria that is registered under the CSE and, of course, the hospitality section of the federal government or the state government not have a CCTV? At least with the CCTV, you can determine if this is true or not, because the police has to investigate virtually all the petty crimes that happens in Nigeria. How easy would that be?
The police still have to investigate. I cannot agree that once allegation is leveled against an individual, we must come to the studio to conclude that that allegation must be correct. No, you just talked about CCTV now. How do we get to CCTV issue if we don't investigate? Let the police investigate. Let them call for the CCTV. Let the NAS president, let him give us more insight. Let security agency, let them invite him. He provided some name. He mentioned the name of the Minister of Education. The Minister of Education, were you in Lagos for so time? What brought you to Lagos? Why were you having a meeting with this man? He said you were offering him 100 million. Where did you want to get the 100 million from? Is it true that you offer him 100 million? He should provide more evidence, and it is the duty of the police, the DSS, other security operatives to investigate. So if we ask the security operative to investigate on the issue of Natasha and Akpabio, that, let Natasha provide evidence, and Professor 𝐒𝐿𝐒𝐃 came out and said Natasha did this, she did that, we also said she should provide evidence. Why can't we also say Isa Atiku, the NAS president, should also provide evidence that some of these things happen, or maybe there was a meeting, they wanted to coerce him, they said no, and definitely it must be as a result of the fallout of that meeting that he was attacked. So all of this, we need to look at the merit of this case, because if care is not taken, if we dig the pit for our enemy, if we dig it too deep, if care is not taken, we might fall into the pit by ourselves. So we must be very careful.
All right, Austin, that said, BRT driver sentenced to death for Bamishe's mother. Now, would we say this is long overdue to have this man behind bars? And now we talk about conspiracy accomplices. Now, would we say this is the end of it, or we still have some people who are ramping in the street and could cause more harm, rape individuals, kidnap them for whatever reasons here?
Yes, first of all, it's a welcome development that at the end of the day, justice finally was served in the case of Bamishe that was gruesomely murdered by a BRT driver. It was an unfortunate incident that year. Then we need to improve on our justice system. Of course, we know that justice will come. There is this saying that justice delayed is justice denied. Let us overhaul the justice system in such a way that justice can be served faster than it is today in our country. Because this man has been sentenced, that would not bring Bamishe back. This man has been sentenced, that will not console the family. But then, if justice is done right and on time, of course, the family will have a consolation. And that will also serve as deterrent to any criminal or someone that intends to commit crime, that no matter what, you are definitely going to be caught, and the long arm of the law will catch up with you even as quickly as possible. So we are happy that justice has been served. We advise government to do something so that the will of justice can grind faster. Then we also hope that those criminals will always be brought to justice. The case can still go to a higher court, but definitely the Supreme Court might eventually uphold this judgment. Then we're also appealing to state governors, because from investigation also shows that state governors are always reluctant to sign death warrant. State governors are always reluctant to sign death warrant because it is the duty of the state governor to sign death warrant. We have a lot of people that have been sentenced to death by hanging, that have been given death sentence, and they are still wallowing in various prison or detention facilities across the country. So governors must summon the political will. Don't say that, oh, you don't want to take the life of people, you don't want to shed blood. The embezzlement, the money you guys are stealing, money for construction of road, money for hospital, money for education and what have you, that is being misappropriated. It's also by implication amount of blood sharing. So that is the way I see it. So we are happy that there's still faith within the system. No criminal should go unpunished, and nobody should commit crime, and no crime should be covered. That is the masses. So our heart once again goes to the family of Tumishe. Like I said, sentence will not bring Bamishe back. No amount of money can bring her back. But when justice is done and it is done right on time, the family will have solace that, yes, the fellow that murdered our son, our daughter, at the prime of her age, did not go scot-free.
Or else then Igbo will give Tinubu over 70% of Southeast's votes in 2027, says Benjamin Kalu. We are in 2025 now. Is it that we're going to cancel 2026 and jump to 2027? Do you think these politicians are really taking Nigerians serious in terms of our welfare as a citizen? Here, Kalu, who appears to be the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, already assuring that 70% of Southeast votes will go to Tinubu in 2027. What do you think, Austin?
Like they gave him in 2023, right? The last time I checked, Benjamin Kanu is not the spokesperson of any Igbo socio-political organization. It's not the spokesperson for any Igbo group, and I believe he cannot speak for the Igbo nation. He is entitled to his opinion. He's doing everything possible to defend his party. He's doing everything possible to keep his job as the Deputy Senate President, as the Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep. Even Abia state that he comes from, he cannot guarantee that, let alone the entire Igbo nation, except the people of that region deliberately and purposefully made up their mind to vote the president Emas come 2027. The assertion or the statement credited to Benjamin Kanu is just a mere political statement. When I saw it, I didn't even read it because I don't take such a comment very seriously. Let 2027 come and let's get into the art of politics. Whether Benjamin Kanu will return to the National Assembly is a matter of the people and God ultimately. So it's just like a thought that, if the president sees or hear that, the president will be happy. But a lot of dynamics will still come to play. For example, this Benjamin Kanu, if he's denied the ticket in 2027, he might even move to another party. That's the character of an average Nigerian politician. But like I said, this is just a political statement as far as I'm concerned.
All right, before we go on a break right about now, Austin, implement 2014 confab report to honor Ayo Adebanjo Edwin Clark. Body George tells Tinubu, we're talking about confab. This is 2025. And there are so many other reports. We still remember the Mohammed Owais report on electoral reform itself is still gathering dust. So many other reports there. Do you think Tinubu will want to listen to a body judge who happens to be his major critic here?
Well, I don't think it's about body judge. I believe that in this case, let's look at the message and put the messenger aside. The 2014 confab will do us a lot of good as a country, because there were a lot of solutions to our problems in that confab report. There were a lot of debates, a lot of concession, a lot of consensus that were reached as far as that report was concerned. I do not think it makes sense to continue to keep the reports under the shelf to gather dust. So I wish that the president can look into it and look at areas that can be implemented from that particular report. Don't also forget, between 2014 and now, we have had a lot of dynamism in terms of security, in terms of politics, in terms of economy, and what have you. But I believe that this is what we are talking about waste. Billions of naira were put together, taxpayers' fund, to organize that confab. And at the end of the day, the government that organized that confab got the report in August. of August of, I think, 2014, and left office May 29, 2015. About 8 months later, the government did not even deem it fit to implement or check the content of that report, because it becomes extremely difficult when you are not the one that put the confab together, because that is the way politicians think. That's the reason why they abandon projects here and there. Ordinarily, there shouldn't be a case of an abandoned project if we are serious people. But people will feel that, oh, I'm not the one that started this project, I want to do it. But I must say that the rate of abandonment of projects has reduced in Nigeria. The last government tried, and I think this government is also doing a lot in that regard. So back to the confab, the government should look at the confab, implement the confab, because whatever that will benefit Nigeria, whatever that will promote our diversity, whatever that will bring peace, whatever that will bring stability and economic prosperity, especially the area of equality and equity, we must pursue it to a logical conclusion. So I'm also adding my voice to that of Bode George, that the president should take a second look at that confab report. We have a lot to gain in that report.
All right, we'll have to take this break. When we do come back, we'll be having more on the Break It On Papers Review. Please do stay with us.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Every day when my children return from school, I don't recognize them. Hello, do I know you?
It's us, Mommy.
But these dirty, sweaty uniforms and socks, we're clean in the morning. Everything don't transform. I understand though, school is hectic. It takes energy to come home this transformed. So I make sure they have some nutritious Milo at breakfast.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo. Dear landed property owner, what if I told you that you could reach out to a radio station to sell your choice of landed properties without paying for adverts? Huh? You must think it's impossible, right? And not just any radio station, a radio station with millions of listeners, so your property can be sold as quickly as possible. Stop doubting Thomas. What's your name again? 32 FM, the laughter station, in partnership with Soft Sands Property, is bringing this offer to you. Yes, if you have a house or land in a choice location with appropriate titles and you want it advertised on 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan, for quick sales and without paying a cobble, you can call or send a message to this number 091-646-15000 and 091-555-0055. Also, you can visit www.softsandsproperty.com to express your interest. Terms and conditions apply. Soft Sands, created to house the world.
Tifa bá wọlé tọ́ ní fàáfàá Jifa. 32 FM, the happiness station, is ready to spread happiness again. Yes, turn don't reach for us to make our listeners smile again. Oh, are you ready? Chetty bro dede, awufu berekete don't land like traffic lights. If true data is life, now if you say recharge card go come with you. If your finger is fast and you are feeling lucky on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, then keep your dial locked on 32 FM 949. Nítorí odò recharge card yóò máa rọ̀ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Ṣẹ́gun, Ọjọ́rú àti Ọjọ́bọ̀. Ìyẹn ò ní pé every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday time go reach you. Àwùfù bẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀tẹ̀ go dey ṣẹlẹ̀ on top 32 FM 94.9 by 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m. Congo reach 7 p.m. Lẹ́yìn tó túmọ̀ sí pé láago mẹ́jọ òwúrọ̀, aago mọ́kànlá àárọ̀, aago kan ọ̀sán, aago márùn-ún àti aago méje àṣálẹ́. If it be red network, if it be green network, it still fit be yellow network. Any which way na way, your own na to stay alert and stay active on 32 FM. Ló bá tán, má gọ̀ọ̀kì ẹ̀ láfàwọ́dá.
You want life in the junior. Èmi tí mo phenomenal gangan.
Ó yàtọ̀ láti jẹ ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́wàá náírà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí, kò sí lọ kábọ̀ nínú rẹ̀. Jẹ ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́wàá náírà pẹ̀lú Coco Box lórí ẹ̀rọ ìpè rẹ̀. Tẹ *347*253#. Tẹ̀síwájú láti san igba náírà sí àsùnwọ̀n Titan Pay Star. Ìdíje yìí kò tó fáwọn èèyàn méjì tí yóò máa jẹ ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́wàá náírà. Yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí àwọn ètò wa bíi Ìṣẹ́yá pẹ̀lú Adébáyọ̀ Tìámíyù Ọ̀tàsínẹ́ láago 9 àbọ̀ òwúrọ̀. Kọ́ọ̀lù àwìn pẹ̀lú àǹtí Sùnbọ̀ láago 2 ọ̀sán. Kí láti ṣe pẹ̀lú Olúwayẹmísí láago 3 ọ̀sán. Ègé pẹ̀lú Sporting Crystal Star aago 5 ìrọ̀lẹ́ àti WhatsApp Naija pẹ̀lú àfòdá bàbá àgbàlagbà láago 6 ìrọ̀lẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ báwọn èèyàn méjì yóò ṣe máa fa ẹgbẹ̀rún 10 náírà mọ́ra gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìfà lórí àwọn ètò wa wọ̀nyí ẹ tún lè ta Coco Box lọ sójú òpó ayélujára wọn co-cocobox.com bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ta púpọ̀ ẹ máa jẹ púpọ̀ Coco Box wà pẹ̀lú àjẹsọpọ̀ ìkànnì fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ 32 FM 94.9 Coco Box kòkó owó star 347 star 253 hash òǹgọ̀ngọ̀ nìdọ̀ Coco Box.
máa wò mí bí.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to Break It On Papers Review here on your Laughter Diet 32 FM 94.9. And of course, we've looked at the front pages of the dailies here in Nigeria. And of course, it's about time to pick your calls and also take your comments on our socials. Do remember, we are live on Facebook in case you want to join us there and drop your comment. That's 32 FM 949. Fenya on Facebook with double E's. And the numbers to call in are 070-55000-949 or 0097,949.
Good morning. Thank you all for being there. This is the voice of John who's on Joko. Well, Benjamin Carlo has to go back to history. That is what I just want to advise him. So I know he's from then, the local government area. You're just lucky to have won election under the platform of APC in that area. So let him go back to history from beginning before he can be telling us that. Well, the Yoruba government, which he claims, if we have Yoruba government now, it is because we once had Hausa Fulani government under Buhari. And the Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate, even before then, told the Nigerians that he would definitely continue where Buhari stopped. And for Atiku, the burden is on him to prove the allegations against Tinubu, because he who alleges has to prove. Suspicion is not enough. Evidence required to accuse someone of having committed an offense is what is necessary or required under the law. And John is on Joko. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, John on Joko. The numbers again are +234 90 62,000 949. You can also call 070 55,000 949 or 080 97,000 949. All right. We'll also take some comment here on Facebook. We are live on Facebook. That's 32FM 949 here on Facebook with double E's. We have this one. Okedi Rambabatunde says, "Oh right, is laughing here." Says GFC, you're talking about CCTV. Have you forgotten that humans will power the devices? The device are under the control of humans. This is Nigeria. All right, Tulokwe Adiyemi says, good morning. The news surrounding the arrest of Mele Kyari and 13 others is a welcome development and even longer overdue because we believe this would have brought about some sanity to oil sector and put an end to the crisis and the hardship associated with the fuel crisis and its goods that is paying for all its misdeeds while in office. All right, we take another call here this morning. And hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, brother.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Ade from UI.
Okay.
The allegation against Sheyi is what I want to comment about. It's not something you can joke with. But the issue is that the previous investigation in the country itself, where has it led us to? Because I remember a few days ago, this guy was in an hotel, was raising an alarm that Sheyi Tinubu's guys have surrounded the hotel. What did the government and the police do at that time? And eventually things happened to him. 2 days later, GBOLABO, what do we say to that? And if you look at Sheyi's activities, I was asking myself yesterday, I was giving kudos to Obasanjo, Yaradua, and Jonathan. It was as if these people did not even have children at all. Look at Sheyi, if you look at his convoy, my sister, with about 40 brand new SUV. How old is he? Is he occupying any position? What have he done to get all those things? And going around the north, sharing Sebo and Fufu to people. Where is he learning that kind of politics of not having vision and value at his age? If people that are old, his father that are sharing Sebo and Nevana, his own should be giving ideas, managing people that my father will improve. But you are going across the country, harassing people with your convoy, dissolving peace in the country, And nobody can call your father to order that go and find a job to do. So it's very easy to trace such a thing to a guy like that. For the Kalu that is saying the South will vote for Tinubu, the perception of Tinubu and the APC is that entire South, no other party will pick any other person apart from Tinubu. Meanwhile, reverse is the case. A popular person will be candidate of another formidable party, not PDP, from Southeast. How is Tinubu going to go about it when it comes? And it will come. These are the best of today.
Thank you so much, Adesi, for that. All right, we'll take more comments here on Facebook. Miriam Yetunde says, good morning. I hope the matter between Natasha and Akpabio will soon be resolved. It's time to focus on pressing issues that impact Nigeria's growth and development. I urge leaders and stakeholders to collaborate and work towards a prosperous future for the country. All right, we also have Oluwaseun Ruth here. She says the tussle between Natasha and Akpabio should have ended by now if they really know the purpose of them being in the Senate, which employed them to allow all this to slide and swing into action and putting the federal government to do the needful for Nigerians on its toes. All right, we do have more comments here on Facebook. And Sulaiman Sharif is saying, good morning. Regarding the $3 billion refinery fraud and 80 billion naira found in sacked MD's account, he says what they can do. All right, that part of it is gone. Okay, it says found in sacked MD's bank account. Last week, Wednesday, I said those MDs should be arrested and investigated for fraud to get more revelation. 𝐒𝐈𝐒 should be arrested and investigated as well. Lastly, I must blame NNPCL and federal government for deceiving Nigerians regarding the operations of the refineries, particularly the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Tolu. I'm calling from Europe.
All right, please go ahead, Tolu.
Yeah, my submission will be on the torture allegation level and get the son of the president. Actually, with what we've seen, the video that we have watched, I don't think the former NAS president will be lying against the president. Yes, because this guy raised alarm before the incident, and nothing was done to prevent the occurrence of that ugly incident. I know that it has happened. We don't want it to be swept under the carpet. Because this son of the president has always been in the news for wrong deals. Yes. In fact, he has relegated the office of the vice president, doing the jobs, doing the functions of the vice president, which is bad because it is not recognized in the constitution. So the matter should be properly investigated.
All right,
thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you so much for that, Tolu. All right, time is fast spent. We quickly take this one. Honorable Akinkunmi Camille that call on Facebook says some Nigerians can believe everything against anyone they don't like. It's until their turn or their son they will know we need to ask questions and investigate. All right, we also take this one from Boluwatife Ademijunwa says, good morning. Banditry and terrorism have become significant challenges in Nigeria, partly due to the perceived lack of effective solutions from the federal government. And Prince Bome Adefusi too says, good morning to you. And he's also greeting Austin here. If there's sanity in the oil sector, Nigeria would be a better place because the high level of corruption in this sector is too alarming. And if 𝐒𝐈𝐒 and few others can be probed and brought them to book, if they will be guilty or found guilty in a realistic manner. I'm afraid that's the much we can take on the Break It On People's Review this morning. And Austin, we have to leave right about now. I must say a big thank you to you for doing this analysis proper with us. And to all our callers and those who sent in their messages, we also say a big thank you. Do remember Baba Fendo is up next. My name is GBOLABO, famous call. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.